Absolutely, absolutely. And just before introducing Ken, it's growmastermindevents.com, and you can find the recordings in there. It's very simple. Grow. Yes, you can put the link below. But anyhow, uh, let's introduce our last guest of the day, and do not forget that tomorrow we have the second day, and when it's going to be also on. So it's going to be Saturday and Sunday, 2 more days of the event, and we're gonna have 2 days that is gonna be coming one after each other. So make sure you're gonna be um, tuning in also tomorrow. And this being said, allow me to introduce Mr. Ken Joslin. And I will say like this next speaker, this next entrepreneur, it's a powerhouse, and I strongly advise you, if you don't know anything about him, do some researches. I'm pretty sure you're gonna be amazed about I will say what he achieved, and most important, it is what he managed to do with time, and also his performance, the people who've been on the stage, and even more important, like his amazing ability to speech, educate, and teach others how to do better, be better, and I will say be present. So here we go. Um, Mr. Ken Joslin.
What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? Good to see everybody today. I just finally got home from LA, canceled flight again. Let me see, delay, cancel. I just said, fuck it, just book me on the first thing in the morning. I'm going to hang out in Dallas with some friends last night, which I did. I woke up this morning with the crud. So it's me and Ricola. And I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram post today. I'm going to show you guys, and this may be, if you catch one thing today out of this entire presentation, out of all these people, this may be the best thing for you. So as soon as I got home, how many of you guys are from the South or from the United States? I know we don't have a lot. If you got to give me a thumbs up, maybe type it in the chat. Let me open my chat up so I can see you guys. Let me move it over here on this screen here. My phone's blowing up. Anybody from the South? Let me show you what we do in the South. If you ever have a summer cold, this is what my granny would make for me. Now it's a little different because this is bourbon, throat comfort tea, lemon juice, and honey. There's my picture I put this morning. Now the only difference is my granny we use bourbon. They used moonshine back in the day, so it was straight moonshine back in the day. So anyway. I just wanted to, number one, I'm honored to be a part. Again, Peter and these guys, Christian, are real good friends of mine. Joe Munizaga, I got to hop on and see Joe just a while ago. So just a huge thank you to you guys, number one, for letting me come on. I'm not going to take a ton of your time today. I just want to share some things that have really been on my heart for the last probably month or two. And I want to talk about creating your ideal life. I know I talk a lot about mindset, strategy, leadership development. It's what we do at GSD. Really, my passion and mission is to help leaders build confidence, gain clarity, and create community. And I think those are the three most important things. And I think when you get those three things in order, I think it's amazing how God opens doors and you start to see things happen in an unbelievable way. We're a little bit over 2 years left. Tabitha, where are you from in Michigan at, girl? Type that in there. Oh, I heard you and Joe talking about that earlier. Is Joe's in Michigan, like on a trip or something? I got you. I'm like, I know Joe didn't move to Michigan. Where in Michigan are you from? I have no idea where that's at. And I grew up in Pontiac. I have no idea. That's got to be up north somewhere, right? Go ahead and unmute your mic. Just unmute your mic and talk to me real quick. Can we do that? We're going to make this a little different. I know I'm the last guy today. Everybody's
Absolutely.
Tired. Go ahead. Where is that at?
North of Lansing. Just north of Lansing.
Oh, man, Lansing. That's little brother territory over there. I'm a big Michigan fan. So,
Yeah.
So Lansing, for those of you guys that don't know, is where Michigan State's located at. So that's awesome.
Go green.
Yeah, my dad lives in the Cairo, Akron area, in the Thumb area. My sister lives in Canton, right outside of, in between Detroit and Ann Arbor. So, but I'm a big Blue fan. But one of the things I've been talking a lot about, guys, is creating your ideal life. It's something that's been huge on my heart, probably for the last couple months. It's been We've had 2 really good years. We started GSD a little bit over 2 years ago. I just had a strategy whiteboard session with my buddy, Master Jeff, lives in LA. If you guys know anything about what we do at GSD, coach consult, I do large events. I do create conferences, #1 entrepreneur conference in the Southeast. John Maxwell, Jesse Itzler, I got Ed Milet coming in this year, Randy Garn, Jen Gottlieb, Carlos Reyes, Anthony Trucks. I mean, it's just a ton of my really, really good friends. I think Dave Meltzer was with you guys earlier, right? I saw Dave on there. Dave's a real good friend. Dave spoke for me last year.
It will be tomorrow. It will be tomorrow, sir.
Oh, Dave's coming tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Nobody has seen these pictures yet, but we just sat down for a full day and we just charted out my vision for the year for GSD. And I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to give you guys an inside peek at what this whiteboard looks like. I've got 4 numbers this year that are my goals: 50, 100, 500, 1,000. Those are the goals inside. And I'll break those down. When I say how to create your ideal life, I'm going to talk a lot about vision. I'm going to talk a lot about really defining what it is you want your life to look at. When I say look like, I mean specific. Can you guys see those numbers right there? 50, 100, 500, 1,000. Can somebody see that number right there? What is that? Somebody tell me what that says.
5,192.
Actually, that'd be 5.192 million. Thank you very much. That's 5.192 million. That's our revenue goal this year. My revenue goal over the next 12 months is to do 5.192 million. And with those numbers, it's 50 people in my GSD Elite, which is our gosh, I don't even know how to do it. A bunch of world-class entrepreneurs that we have inside of our mastermind. We meet 4 times a year. The last one we did, I had 4 8-figure earners inside of our mastermind. That means they're guys making over $1 million a month. I've got a couple guys nearing 20 million a year inside of our mastermind. So 50, 100 people inside of our GSD community, 500 people in our Create conference, which we'll sell that out this year, and then 1,000 people buying our courses. And you say, and I literally, guys, I mean, when I say broke this down, if I could show you guys these pictures, like even on my CEO tickets at Create, and you're like, Ken, why are you telling us all this? Because I want you to know the detail at which you need to write vision down. I want you to understand the power when you begin to write vision down. There's my tickets for Create. 50 CEOs, 107 VIP, 100 exec, 200 general admission. And then I've got my speaker partners right there. Like, guys, when it comes to writing your vision down, don't leave anything to chance. Don't leave anything to chance. When I first got connected with Grant Cardone, October of 2019, to 2.5 years ago, I learned the power of writing down vision. I learned not of writing down vision, but of writing down vision twice a day. I've always been somebody that's written vision down. I pastored 12 out of the last 25 years. But the one thing that I learned from Grant was the power of writing goals and vision down twice a day. And people ask me all the time, Ken, why do you do that? Here's my planner for today. You can see my goals. If you can't spit off your goals when somebody says, Dave, right now, what's your goals this year? What do you have? Eric, Marie, Raymond, Michael. What's your goal? What is your vision this year? Because it is impossible for us to create and live our ideal life if you don't know exactly what your vision is. If somebody says, Ken, what's your vision? I can break it down just like that in 3 areas. I've got 2 companies. Number 1 is my real estate company. Chase is my team lead. I just brought him on staff full time 3 weeks ago. So he just came on staff. We closed 5 deals last month. We'll close 6 or 7 deals this month. And I'm actually with EXP. So I've got agents in Birmingham, Alabama, and agents in Atlanta. I brought Chase on so he could oversee the real estate company. I'm actually making the Ken Joslin team. You see my logo there. That's becoming the Joslin Riley team. So my 3 goals are Chase the team lead, 20 agents recruited to EXP, and $16 million sold. On the GSD side, super simple. I just told you 50, 100, 500, 1,000. Those are our 4 goals. I know exactly what those things look like, and a top 100 podcast. Like, I know exactly what it looks like on the GSD side. Personal, our Create conference. I know it's a little GSD, but it's personal for me. Like this year, I've got 3 names on there. I've got John Maxwell, Ed Milet, and Eric Thomas. I've already got a contract with John, already got a contract with Ed. I'm waiting on Eric to sign his contract. Like that's a personal goal of mine, is to build relationships with these guys. I've known John for 20 years. I just met Ed a few months ago, was just out in LA last week at his small gathering he did. That's a personal goal. Another personal goal is to lose 106 pounds. I'm down 83 pounds right now. My third personal goal is time with my girls. I'm divorced a couple years after 27-year marriage. I've got 4 daughters, 27, my 27-year-old, 26-year-old blowing me up right now, 26, 23, 19, and almost 14. My 13-year-old will be 14 in a couple weeks. And so that's one of my personal goals, is time with my girls. My fourth personal goal is me. Like, what does that look like for me? How do I become the best version of Ken Joslin? You say, Ken, what does that look like? Like, guys, I'm really busy. I do a lot of shit. But what I've done in this season of my life is really step back. When we're talking about creating your ideal life and understanding what your ideal life looks like, guys, listen, you have to define what it looks like. Like, this is our new GSD planner. We did about a little bit over a year ago. I took the 10X planner and put it on steroids. We got goals. I added gratitude affirmations, top 3 wins, 1% better. And I even did a scoreboard, look here, at the bottom of every page. So you can rate yourself every single day. How am I living every single day? Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, where am I at? Do you guys know how many 10s I've given myself in the last year, 13 months since I created this planner? I gave myself 110. And it was the Sunday morning after Create conference. I'm always an 8, 8.5, kind of, 10s are hard to get to, but I grade, and I put a number on myself every single day. How many of you guys ever been to a T-ball game? I've only got one camera on, so it's me talking to Peter this morning. You've been to growthstatdrive.com/planner. Super easy. How many of you guys ever been to a T-ball game? Give me a thumbs up. Been to a T-ball game? You say, Ken, why do you do the scoreboard every single day? Every single one of us have been to a T-ball game or a little league baseball game. Well, a little league T-ball game, if you've ever been to one, it's like the little bitty kids, like 5, 6 years old. They put the ball on the tee. Little Johnny hits it, and he runs towards third base because he's never played baseball before. Coach grabs him, points him towards first. He's trucking it down to first. There's 38 kids in the field. They're going crazy, picking flowers, picking their nose, chasing butterflies. They have no idea what's going on. Tons of excitement and energy on the field. All the parents are there, brothers and sisters, grandparents are there. They're all screaming when little Johnny hits the ball off the tee, and little Johnny's running the wrong way. Coach puts him the right way. And there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of energy. But after an hour, everybody goes home and nobody knows who won. Why? Because we don't keep score in T-ball games. And that, my friend, looks a lot like a lot of people's businesses. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of woo, 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 we're going to do this, and let's go, and let's do this. And there's a lot of run around. There's a lot of busyness. But the reality of it is, guys, at the end of the day, nobody knows who won because they didn't keep score. And so that's why I put that scoreboard in there. So when we talk about creating an ideal life, I want you to understand there's a couple things in your ideal life that I want to share with you today. And then I'm going to touch a little bit on this, I think, again tomorrow. And that is really defining what you want your life to look like. Like, what do you want? What does your ideal life look like? What does your bank account look like? What does your physical condition look like? I'm going to show you guys a picture real quick for the 2 of you guys that are watching me right here. I'm going to show you guys a picture real quick of my before and after picture. Peter, have you guys seen this picture before? Because it is like, OMG. Look at that before and after picture right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's 83 pounds ago. Like a couple years ago, I was like, you know what? I can't keep living this way. So I began to formulate in my mind create vision in my mind of what I wanted my life to look like. And I said, you know what? One of the things I want to do, I want to drop 106 pounds. What's my second goal in my planner? Lose 106. When I first set that goal, guys, a little bit over 2 years ago, it was 66 pounds. When I got to 60 pounds, I raised it to 86 pounds. When I got to 80 pounds about a month and a half ago, I raised it to 106 pounds. Like, when you talk about your ideal life, what does it look like? And I'm going to give you 5 areas. I call these my core 5. So if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down really, really quick. Faith, number 1. physical condition, number 2, your relationships, number 3, your business, number 4, and your finances, number 5. And the problem is, how many of you guys have been in, and I know you guys are in the entrepreneurial space because you're on Peter's call right now. We tend to get those flip-flopped. We tend to go, okay, we're going to get our business and our finances focused first. But the reality of it is if your relationships aren't good and your physical condition isn't good and your spirit isn't good. Now, I spent half of the last 25 years in full-time vocational ministry, pastoring churches and planting churches. I'm a Christ follower. I got saved when I was 25 years old. I'm not necessarily concerned with what your faith is, but that you just have faith, whatever that looks like for you. Whatever that looks like between you and God or your God or universal, whatever you call that. Like, I'm going to ask you today, we're going to take these 5 areas. I call them my core 5. Inside of my mastermind, we meet in Sundance, August the 2nd through the 5th. It's a $35K a year mastermind. I'm going to have about 35 of the top entrepreneurs in the world at this. I mean, I'm talking about guys that Gary Brecka and Sage. You guys know Gary and Sage. Dear friends of mine are part of this. Brent Gove, who's the number 3 or 4 guy at EXP, has 35,000 agents in his organization right now, makes over like 1.2 million a month right now, just in residual off of his agents that he has in his organization. I've got guys like Randy Garn, who is best friends with Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. I was just in Dean's studio 2 weeks ago in Scottsdale shooting a podcast. We just dropped the podcast episode with Dean on Wednesday. I got Randy Garn is in there. My buddy Master Jeff. I just spent the weekend with him at his house in Calabasas. We rode around in his Rolls Royce convertible Phantom, the last one they ever built in 2016. The level of people that I get to spend time with, and these are the 5 things that we talk about all the time. Like, where are you? And here's what I want you to do. On these 5 areas, write them down. Faith, physical condition is number 2. So we'll start with faith. Where are you at on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the best? Where are you at in your faith journey right now? What does that look like? Guys, as a Christian pastor for a long time, 12 out of the last 25 years, some of the most amazing conversations that I had geared around faith happened at our last mastermind in Atlanta. I rented about a $2 or $3 million house. We were on the lake, just north of Alpharetta. If you know anything about Atlanta, Alpharetta is probably my favorite area. It's beautiful. Everybody stayed at Hotel Avalon, 5-star, beautiful place. Then I had this lake house for my team, and then we all gathered there and had conversations. But we had some of the most amazing conversations geared around faith that I've had in 25 or 30 years of being a Christ follower. And not everybody was even Christian. I've got some guys that are Muslim. I've got some guys that are trying to figure out. I got some guys that are like, hey, man, right now it's just not that important to me. But where are you in your faith journey on a scale of 1 to 5? Where are you? And just engrave yourself. Where are you on that scale? Second thing is my physical condition. If you really are serious about creating your ideal life, you need to have your thumb on the heartbeat of these 5 areas on a consistent basis every single day. Second one is your physical condition. Where are you at? Do you need to lose weight? Do you need to gain weight? Do you have a goal? Like you said, I want to run a Tough Mudder. I want to do a half marathon. Marathons. I don't have anything to do with any of that kind of stuff. But I did do a Tough Mudder several years ago, and I did it with my daughter and a group from my church. It's probably been 6 or 7 years ago. I did the Savage Race, which was 13 miles. I think that's a 10K, 13 miles, 24 obstacles. The last obstacle we got to was an 18-foot wall, curved wall, where you had to run up far enough up the wall to grab the rope, and it had big knots in it, and you pulled yourself up the wall. Well, the problem with me on my physical condition, guys, is I've never had really any upper body strength. I've never done a pull-up in my life. My legs, I can squat the gazillion pounds. I chest press, I can do it, but I've never been able to do a pull-up. I couldn't pull myself up the wall. I tried numerous times. And I finally got on the rope. I wrapped my legs and my arms around the rope, and my team that was at the top of the thing pulled the rope up and got me up. When I got to the top of that wall and I rolled over on my back and I knew we were done, I cried like a baby. I literally cried so hard. I was like, oh, we did it. Snot coming out of my head. It took me 3 hours, but it was like I wanted to do something. So when we talk about creating your ideal life, what does that look like? You've got to be crystal clear. You've got to be crystal clear on what you're looking for. Your relationships. Where are your relationships? What does that look like? Like, guys, what does that look? Are you doing the work that you need to do in your relationships? Listen, I ended a 27-year marriage a couple of years ago. Very difficult and painful season of my life. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. Tomorrow is my first therapy session with some of my children, walking through that. Because I'm like, you know what? Even though this was difficult for my ex-wife, who I still love, difficult for my kids. I've got 4 daughters. Like, I'm not okay with it just being difficult. Like, we're going to do the work. I picked up this book by Gabby Bernstein called Happy Days, walking through this book. I'm meeting with Dr. Rob Kelly, who's one of the top therapists in the NLP guys in the world. Like, I'm meeting with these guys. I'm doing the work that I need to unpack and that I need to do. Like, where are you at in your relationships on a scale of 1 to 5? Your intimate relationships, if it's siblings, family relationships, and then there's 3 spheres of relationships. I want you to write this down. Number 1 is your community. Number 2 is your circle. And number 3 is your corner. Your community is the group of people that you travel with. For me, it's GSD and 10X. I'm also part of 10X. Some of you guys are in GMG. Some of you guys are also in 10X as well. So in the community, where are you at in the community on a scale of 1 to 5? Are you tied into the community? Are you doing well into the community? Do you add value to the community? Or do you take from the community? Like, what does that look like for you? So in the relationship component, I would even break it down into those 3 categories. Community, like, how am I part of a thriving, healthy, growing community? Second thing I would say is, where am I at in my circle? Like, where am I at in my circle? Circle are the 12 people you spend time with almost every single day. They're the people that you travel with every single day. Those are the 12 people that you spend the majority of your time with. You do work with, you do life with, you do fun with. Those 12 people, guys, you need to evaluate who's in your circle on a constant basis. And I'm going to show you a text message really quick right here. I'm going to show you, this is funny. How many of you guys know Gary Bracken? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, you know Gary? I'm going to show you a video Gary just sent our whole group this morning. He's a knucklehead. He's an idiot. So I've got a text thread right here. All 5 of those guys I just named: Gary Brecka, Randy Garn, Brent Gove, my buddy Master Jeff, lives out in Calabasas, and my good friend Brian Covey, who's a senior vice president of Loan Depot, like $2 billion in revenue last year. When I talk about your circle, I want to show you kind of what this looks like. And like, here's my, I start the text off almost every morning because my ass is up early in the morning. There's my scripture that I did this morning. Hey guys, just finished it. Good morning, team. Brian Covey. Brian's giving us a breakdown on his family and his daughter. She's a big soccer player. It's like 14. She's on the trying out for the under 15U or 14U pre-Olympic team or whatever. Big time. There's Randy Garn fishing with Rob Riggle, whatever his name is, the comedian guy. Randy's got him up in Salt Lake City fishing. And then this is hilarious. Then I get this video from this knucklehead. It's Gary and Brandon Dawson in the fucking octagon. They're at UFC headquarters. They're working a big deal right now with Dana White. And so he said, so we're videoing, guys. We're texting back and forth all day long. Randy's sending pictures of him in his helicopter with his daughter flying to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Like, we're constantly communicating with each other. If there are things going on that we need, we're there for each other. So what does your circle look like? In my circle, now I put this circle together because I'm the one that was like, and I want to tell you how I did that. How many of you guys, man, I'd love to see some faces. If you can turn your camera on, I'd love to see some faces. But let me ask you a question. How many of you guys would like to know, Ken, how in the world do you get those 6 guys? Or the 5 guys? How do you get those 5 guys? How did you build relationships like that? Number 1, they all came to my Create conference last year. Randy spoke. Jeff bought a $10,000 ticket. CEO. That's how I found him. That's how I met him last year. We quickly became friends. Brian Covey spoke. Brent Go spoke, and Gary spoke. Gary Brecka spoke. I went to every single one of them. God gave me a word this year for my life, and it's for the 2022 strategic. That's my word. So we finished our Create conference, which was unbelievable. I know a couple of you guys are on here that were there. Finished the Create conference. We got done. I was in the shower the next morning, and God said, strategic. Like I was just in the shower, just getting, God, you're so good, man. You crushed this. I got to spend some time with John Maxwell. I hadn't seen John in several years. I've known John for 20 years. John spoke a word over me on Friday that was just, I mean, I'm sitting there crying. Everybody in the room's like, oh my God. Like, it's not like just random guy speaks over your life. It's like John freaking Maxwell speaking over your life for a couple of minutes. It was pretty amazing. And I'm sitting there and God says, be strategic in relationships. So I reached out to all 5 of these guys individually. And this is what I said. And I want you to write this down. This is what I said. I said, Brent Gove, I said, I really believe that God's brought you in my life intentionally. And I want to be strategic in our relationship. And I'm willing to invest 3 things into our relationship. Guys, listen, if you hear me say anything, you hear me say this today. I'm going to invest my time, my talent, and my treasure into our relationship. I'm going to calendar my time. I'm busy. I'm going to calendar my time to go spend time wherever you're at. I'm going to do that. Number 2, my talent. I'm going to help you fulfill the vision God's put in your heart for this year. I'm going to help that come to pass. Listen, guys, if there's a quote that I say all the time that is probably the most received and the most wow when they ask, how do I get around people that I get around, is want something for people, not from people. Like I don't want something from these guys. I want something for them. And when you do that, you want to talk about the caliber of people that get stepped up. The first time I was at Jeff's house last year, I guess it was March. I was over there in March for like 9 days. And we were sitting down, we were talking about my vision this year. And I got a check right here that I wrote myself. I'm gonna show it to you real quick, guys. Boom. Y'all see that check? What's that say right there? Somebody unmute your mic, tell me what that says. That says $1 million. And this made out to me, baby. Jeff said, what's your goal this year? I said, my goal is to make $1 million. I wrote myself a check. I'm going to cash it in a year. It's going to be $1 million. Jeff leaned across the table, and this is exactly what he said to me. He goes, a month or a week? I said, no. I mean, you don't understand. I personally, not the business, I personally want to make $1 million this year. And he leaned back across the table again. And he went, a month or a week? And then it hit me. He's stretching my ass. He's saying, dude, you're thinking too small. Like those are the kind of people you have to have in your circle. Like if you don't have people who are challenging the way you dream and the things you dream about, you've got the wrong people in your circle. You better have some people that challenge the level at which you dream and write goals and write vision down. So I'm going to invest my time, my talent, number 2, and then my treasure, number 3. I was on the phone with Brent, and I said, when's your conference? Brent does, it's called Build 22. He does it in Dallas, Texas. Tony Robbins comes in and speaks the half of the last day, like 6 hours. Cost him like $400,000 to get Tony in for a half a day. 400 G's, like 370 plus travel. So it's more than 400. He has 6,000 people at this event. His front row seat's like $3,000 or $4,000. I'm on the phone with him that day to show him, listen to this, guys. This is gold, to show him how serious I was on pouring my time, talent, and treasure into his life and building that relationship. I went straight to the website while I was on the phone with him, and I bought the most expensive front row seat he had. And I said, my thing's done. I've got my room booked. Brent called me about 2 hours ago. Him and his wife live in Puerto Rico. I flew down there in May. Some of you guys may have seen the pictures because it's beautiful. I flew down there and spent 5 days with him. He just hung out, stayed at their, they've got a several $1 million condo right on the water. We rented a catamaran and beautiful. I spent 5 days with him. I just hung out with them and their family. We just spent time together. When Gary Brecka, I was on a call with Gary Brecka, Dr. T, and Dr. Rob Kelly about an event that we were going to do together. And it was about 2 months before GrowthCon. And I said, Gary, are you speaking at GrowthCon? And if any of you guys know Gary Brecka or saw Gary at GrowthCon, dude, he makes me look like I have no energy. He literally makes me look like I'm like sleepwalking all the time. That mother's got more fucking energy than anybody I've ever been around. And Gary's on the call and the switch flips. He goes, oh my God, Ken, I'm speaking on Friday afternoon. Grant's giving me the spot right after, like at 2 o'clock. I've got 90 minutes, man. I can't wait. Are you going to be there? I said, I am now. I was not going to be there, but I am now. So I called my good friend, Jim Morales, who I just spoke with today. If you guys know Jimmy, he's the CFO for Grant. Jimmy called me today about some stuff. And I called Jimmy on the phone. I said, hey, dude, I think I got a $10,000 credit at the store. Will you check on that for me? And I said, if I do, I need a diamond seat. Can you hook me up with a diamond seat with my 10 grand? Jimmy texted me back later that day. He goes, yep, I got you. So I've got a video from the second or third row, wherever the $10,000 seats are, of Gary when he was coming on stage to speak. And I've got the video of him coming all the way down through there, which I sent to my text thread with all the guys. Well, Brent was there. Jeff was there. Randy was not there. Brian was not there. I sent the video to the guys of him coming down. And as soon as he saw me coming down the aisle, he was like, yeah! He came up and bear hugged me and high-fived me right before he went up on stage. I said, I'm going to invest my time, my talent, my treasure into what you're doing. I'm going to help your dreams come to pass. When Gary and Sage, I don't even know if I can share this publicly. They just closed on a big business thing they've got upcoming. And he called me. He called me from there. He goes, dude, I'm sitting at the closing table with Sage, FaceTime me. And dude, he was tore up, man. He was so excited. And I'm sure he'll be talking about it soon in Colorado. Called me from the closing table. And so your community, your circle, and your corner. Who's in your corner? Who's the one or two people that have a 10,000-foot view of your life? Who is that? Randy Garn is one of those guys. Brent Gove is one of those guys. And my pastor and coach, Sean Lovejoy, who's been my pastor and coach for 13 years, is one of those guys. When I walked through this divorce for the last 2.5 years, when I walked through this divorce and separation and all that kind of process, there is nothing that Sean Lovejoy does not know about me or doesn't know about. I mean, he was my pastor when I pastored. Like, his wife knows my wife. They know the details, behind the curtain details, if you will. And I walked him through the whole thing. And there was things he told me, hey, you should do this. And there was advice he gave me, but I was always very upfront and honest with him. So he knew where I was. Guys, listen, I heard my friend Craig Rochelle say this one time. He said, you're only as sick as your secrets. You're only as sick as your secrets. Somebody in your life better know what's going on in your heart. Somebody. Because listen, every one of us have got junk in there. We've got stuff in there from childhood. We've got stuff in there from our past that people don't know about. So relationships are number 3. Number 4, get the right finger up. Number 4 is going to be your business. Now we're ready. When we get those other areas and we've got them in, we've got those things in alignment, guys. Now we're in alignment to be able to get our business. What am I doing to grow my business? You're on here today, obviously. You know, Peter's a big time business guy. You got some great guys. Joe Munazaga spoke earlier. I love Joe. You got some great guys. My buddy David Meltzer is going to be speaking on here. I don't really know. Bobby Grossi. Didn't Bobby spoke today? Didn't Bobby speak today? Bobby called me yesterday. That little MFer is the one that took me out of my 10 o'clock spot this morning, by the way, which is good because I would have been on a plane because my plane got redone. But Bobby called me last night when I was in Dallas about 8 o'clock. Bobby Grossi's a dear friend of mine. Bobby is the number 1 dentist out of a DSO of about, 115 locations now, 110. About 200 dentists. He's in Flint, Michigan, which is like the armpit of America, because I'm from Pontiac. So it's the other armpit, and he's still crushing it. He's an unbelievable leader. So once I've got my faith figured out, where am I at on a scale of 1 to 5? I want you to grade yourself. Where am I at in my physical condition, 1 through 5? Where am I at in my relationships, 1 through 5? Where am I at number 4? Where am I at in my business, 1 through 5? Where am I? Where do I need to grow? How do I need to grow? And the 5th thing is going to be, where am I at in my finances? One of my affirmations right here, number 1, is I have a millionaire mindset. I have a millionaire mindset. Now, I'm going to be super transparent with you guys. I've never told anybody this. It was just something that hit me this weekend. I'm going through my affirmations. I do what's called mirror work. Like, literally, guys, I'm going to show you what it is. I do mirror work. Like, I'm sitting here on my phone. Let me flip my phone around right here. And I'm looking at myself. And I tell myself 10 times, Ken, I love you. Dude, I love you. I tell myself I love him. This is something that Dr. Rob's got me doing. Ken, I love you. And by about 7 or 8, I start laughing at myself. Like, I'm like, dude, I love you, bro. Bro, yeah, I freaking love you. Like, I do it 10 times. And then I do my affirmations. My first affirmation is, and I'm sitting here looking at myself in this phone, you have a millionaire mindset. And it's funny. I was traveling. I was gone for about 8 or 9 days. I had somebody that I owed, $3 or $4 grand, and they'd text me a couple of times. I'm like, I just was so busy. I didn't get them the money that I owed them. And they didn't text me back. And this is, let me tell you something. Let me tell you what came up in my spirit. I said, I have a millionaire mindset. And all of a sudden I heard, no, you don't. No, you don't. Because the way that you take care of your money and you pay people that owe you is the way people are going to pay you. I was like, dang, you're talking about busting my own ass. I'm saying, you have a millionaire mindset. No, you don't. That guy texted you a couple of days ago. You owed him like $2,800, whatever it is, and you still haven't paid him yet. I'm like, oh, okay. I literally did it right then. And because what I did was processing in my mind the way that I take care of, because I said, well, heck, if he owed me $2,800 and he didn't give it to me when he said he was going to, and it was a couple of days. I don't care if he's traveling. I don't care if he's in Tahiti. It doesn't got nothing to do with me. And it was like, if you got a millionaire mindset, then you're gonna treat your money, because the way that you give people money that you owe, or the way that you handle money going out, is the way that your money's gonna come back to you. This helping you guys? Give me a thumbs up. This helping you guys? There's 5 areas right there. My boy Peter's like, yeah. There's 5 areas for you guys right now. Here's what I'd love to do. We got a couple minutes, maybe 10 minutes left. I want to open it up for Q&A. I would love to do a little bit of Q&A. While I pop open another cough drop. So anyway, Q&A. I'm gonna take a picture. Everybody smile real quick. So I got some proof that I was hanging out with you world changers today. So anyway, Q&A, guys. I'd love just unmute your mic if you've got a question. Michael Lee Minner, where you at, Michael? Is that you in the top right hand corner? No? Where's Michael at? Yeah, it is you up the top right hand corner. I see you first, Peter. Actually, well, you know what's hilarious? Let me see that scripture. That's funny. Let me show you something. I just showed y'all this text this minute ago. You want to talk about funny? Done. Who am I sending this to? Oh, let me do this. I want to. This is funny. This is hilarious. I see you got that 1 Peter chapter 3 up, or 1 Peter chapter whatever. Look what reading plan I'm in right now. 1 Peter. That's exactly what I'm reading. Where did my guy go? Did he just disappear? There he is.
I think he's connecting his audio.
Oh, got you. Talk to me, Michael. I struggle so much to identify these beautiful. Oh, yeah. Anyway, tell me what you struggle identifying, Michael. I got unmute your mic. I can't hear you, bro.
We cannot hear Michael. Try to use the other line.
Is Michael not there?
It's Michael here, but he's gonna put a question, but he has some problem with the audio. Let's see. Until Michael.
That's fine. We'll let him work. Somebody else give me a question. Anybody else have another question they would like to ask while Michael's trying to fix his stuff?
Yeah, I got one.
Shoot, buddy.
And first of all, thanks for being here. The pedigree is just amazing. It's a pleasure to be
Leave it to me.
You. My question is around. Oh, Michael is there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Finish your question, Michael. I'll get you as soon as you.
No, I struggle to identify those things.
Oh, hey, Michael, give me 1 second, Michael.
Hello.
All right, let me just ask mine, Michael. You ask yours afterwards.
Go ahead, Craig.
My question is around persisting when your environment doesn't quite align with your vision. And
say that one more time.
Common advice says that change your environment, change the people that you're around. Mm-hmm. And even I say that, I teach it actually. Mm-hmm. However, once it pertains to family, generally, do you have any pointers from your experience level as to how to navigate that and yet not burn relationships? That's my question.
Yeah, so one of the things I talk about a lot is how to leave relationships the right way, the wrong relationships the right way. So you can have people that are in your circle, but they're just not the right people. And I promise you this, a lot of that organically will take care of itself. When you start doing the things that you know you need to do and start hanging around the right relationships, what happens is this: it either causes those relationships to level up with you, or it'll cause those relationships to walk out the door, and they'll just kind of slowly dissipate. And I say this to people all the time, because you hear people in this space go, "Oh, if they can't help you, F them, just get rid of them." No. That's not how God wired us. He didn't make us that way. You have to honor the relationship. I mean, I was on the phone with a really good friend. They're going to end their marriage, and he was asking me questions today, and I said, "Listen, you have to you've got to make it a win-win as best you can, and you have to take the high road for your soon-to-be ex-wife." I've only been married, I don't know, not long, like 10 years. Well, I say that's 10 years, something like that. Like, you've got to take the high road. Like, how can it be a win for her? Like, you've got to communicate for her so that she can walk out of this and as whole as she can. So in those conversations, I don't think you have to have conversations per se with people who are leaving your life, or people that as you move forward and you're with, I say better relationships, not better relationships. It's the right relationships. You know, as you move forward and you get into those relationships with the right people that God's bringing your way, the other people, 95% of them are just going to drop off. Some of them are going to raise with you. And if you have to have a conversation, I always say this: hey, Peter, man, dude, I love you. I appreciate you so much. And dude, I'm grateful. Just right now in my season of my life, this is the direction I'm going in. And if you want to go in this direction, that's fantastic. I'd love to have you. I'd love to take this journey with you. But right now, this is the direction that I have to go in. And I love you. And I appreciate everything that we've been through and experienced. And we're friends and we will be friends. But this is the journey that I have to take. And which means I'm going to be focusing my attention, focusing everything that I have on this thing that God's put in my heart. And when you do that, it softens the blow. It's not like, oh, I'm just don't measure up and he's cutting me off. Does that help you guys? Give me a thumbs up. That help you? Michael, go ahead, bub.
That is essentially it. You know what I mean? The circle of friends and being so close and being supportive and wanting them to come with you and being the voice that is pushing it, but not really having those voices that come in. I personally should be more active in the communities and everything. And it's almost like, you know, on the ocean, you have these highs and you have these lows where you're like hungry and hard 10X and all that. And then, you know, when you're not constantly among those circles and you've always got the naysayers. One
of the greatest compliments I ever got was from Grant. And it was about a year ago when we were on the mentorship call. For some of you guys who may have been there, I know Dave Ridenauer was.
Beautiful call.
Probably 1,200 of us on that mentorship call. And he gave us homework that night. He was sitting with Elena. Jared was on the call. I think Richie Dolan was still on the team, heading up the licensees. And Grant said, I'm gonna give you homework. He goes, I want you to ask 5 people to define you in one sentence this week. So I shot Grant and Jared a text. I said, hey, I got a question. Grant goes, what you got, preacher? And I said, hey, G, this guy named Grant Cardone gave me some homework. I said, I'm supposed to ask 5 people to define me with one sentence. And I said, since you and Elena are sitting side by side, would you guys be my first 2? And Grant laughs and he just goes into think mode. He just processes and he stops and he looks up and he goes, Ken, did you always show up? Every time I look up on social media, you're there. Every time I'm doing an event, you're in the front row. Every time I'm doing a mastermind, you're there. Every time I look on social media and somebody's doing something big, I see you. And here's the deal, guys. The first time I spoke down at 10X headquarters was December the 9th, 2019, about a month and a half after I met Grant for the first time at a boot camp. Didn't even know who Grant Cardone was. Saw him online, joined the mentorship. 4 days later, I'm in boot camp. And I'm down there for that thing. We got invited. It was 12 of us that got invited. I was the first one Grant invited because my business blew up. I can make 129 grand like the last 2 months of 2019. And I made like 110 like the first 10 months of the year. And so we were down there, and out of those 12 people, I know all of them. I still follow all of them pretty closely. Maybe 2 of us, like I've seen every single day. And there's a concept that I created when I started my health journey and this journey called incremental, not monumental. I posted on it on my Instagram today. Small daily disciplined decisions over time always equal monumental results. Success cannot escape you when you do the right things every single day. The thing is, what you've got to get to, Michael, is when you do it, when you freaking don't feel like it. Like, I don't feel like doing it. I'm going to do it anyway. Like, I know this isn't like, you don't want to get out of, like, I have a 5-second rule I got from my buddy, Jeff Finster. He's a CEO for Everbowl. Jeff's like top 40, under 40, Inc. magazine, entrepreneur, Forbes, CEOs in the country. He's a badass. He spoke at my Scottsdale event last year. And Jeff said, I have a 5-second rule. He said, I give myself 5 seconds to feel sorry, pity party, whatever it is. When I count to 5, I'm like, nope, we got to go. And it doesn't hit me often, but once every 2 to 3 months, I'll be laying in the bed when my alarm goes off at 4:30 or 5, depending on what class I go to at the gym in the morning. And I'll lay there. I'm like, dude, I'm tired. I don't feel good. And I'll lay there. And then I start talking to myself. Well, get your ass out of bed. What's wrong with you? Get your ass out of bed. And I get up. And you got too much to do. There's too many lives to change. There's too many people to impact. Get your ass out of bed. And I get my ass out of bed. So you've got to, I think the thing for you is, and I said that about those 12. I mean, I still am friends with the majority of them, But dude, some of them will disappear on social media for 4 or 5 months. You don't see them. You don't hear from them. Oh, I'm doing a new book. Oh, I'm doing a new webinar. Oh, I'm doing this. Dude, I ain't fucking heard from you in 3 months. Where you been? Like, where have you been? Like, you cannot take a day off. Like, you can take a day off. You know what I'm saying? But you've got to constantly. Because guys, listen, I'm not the sharpest tool in the woodshed. I ain't the best looking guy. I'm not the best communicator. I'm a pretty good communicator, but I'm not the best communicator. I was sitting at Create Conference next to Randy. I had Randy Garn on one side, and I had my buddy Master Jeff. You go look him up, Master Jeff Official on Instagram. 1.3 million followers. The guy's worth a gazillion dollars, and he's one of the greatest human beings on the planet. I'm sitting there in between those two guys at my conference, and Anthony Trucks. Somebody know who Anthony Trucks is? Give me a thumbs up. If you don't know my boy Anthony, you got to go follow Anthony. He's the real deal. Anthony's one of my best friends. Anthony's up on stage. Here's this 6'4" black guy who played in the NFL, shredded, just got through doing 75 hard. And he's one of the best communicators on the planet. I leaned over to Randy. I kind of pulled the guys together. I leaned over Randy a little bit. I said, dude, it ought to be illegal to be that good looking and be able to talk as good as he and be that good of a communicator. Like, he's world class. I'm like, that ain't even fair. Like, I don't have any of that. Like, I don't look like Anthony. You know, Anthony's a phenomenal communicator. Like, he's a world. He speaks for Tony Robbins. He spoke for Russell Brunson at Funnel Hackers in Orlando this year. He speaks at every live event that I do. I mean, I don't have that, but you know what I do? I freaking show up every day.
Yet.
Well, I mean, no, I trust me. I'm a good communicator. I mean, I've been fortunate to be on stages with John and some really cool people, crowds of 10 and 20,000 people. I can communicate, but Anthony's just, he's an anomaly, bro. You see him on stage, you're like, damn, you're really good. There's not many people I see on stage that I'm like that. But when Anthony gets up there, I'm like, dude, my man crush alarm is going off. It's like, whoop, 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 man crush alert. But anyway, I hope that helps you. But dude, it's showing up every day, bro. It's showing up every day, even when you don't feel like showing up. Incremental, not monumental, small daily discipline decisions over time always equals monumental results. Success cannot escape you when you do the right things every single day. I heard one of my pastor friends, it may have been Rick Warren, said this. He said, I heard this probably 10 or 15 years ago. He said, we tend to overestimate what we can do in the short term, and we always underestimate what we can do in the long term. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's just not. It's not. You've seen people in your community that do good and then they're not there. And the reality of it is sometimes you just don't want to pay the price. You got to pay the price, and you got to pay it every single day. Anybody else? Excuse me, guys. Anybody else got questions? Peter, do we have a couple minutes or?
Sure, definitely. We still have it. And I have a question.
What's up, you sex panther, you? Anyway, go ahead.
Absolutely, sir. I have a couple of questions that I would like to put out, just to kind of, I would say, illuminate us with your wisdom on that part, And you mentioned these 5 elements that are very crucial for us to be able to succeed in business. And I was wondering, like, if you have a certain order that you feel like it should be done for us to be able to have the best results.
You're talking about my core 5: faith, physical condition, relationships.
Yes.
I really think that's the order. I really think that is the order. I mean, I think all of those things can be worked on simultaneously. I mean, it's not like you work on one and you got to work on the next. It's not like there's a hole in the bucket and you're filling the lowest hole. I think all of those things are important, but I don't think if you have your faith component down, and then your physical condition, your health journey, and then your relationships, I don't think if you have those things down right, you can build a business, but it's not going to last. It's just not going to. I'm 53 years old. I'll be 54 in 22 days, August the 7th. I'll send you my address. I'll take gift cards, Venmo, PayPal. But I'll be 54 years old, dude. I've just seen too much. And I think that, one of my tough stories over the past year is a young kid. He's young. He's done some unbelievable things, but he's done some things that have lacked a lot of character and integrity, and it bit him in the ass in a big time way this year. And almost 100% of the people that were around him have walked away from him. And I tried to talk to him 2 years ago or a year and a half ago and said, dude, let me coach you. No, I don't need coaching. I've got so-and-so to coach me. I said, I'm not talking about business. I'm talking about the way you do business, your character and your integrity. Because you're fine on the other end. You're going to be great. There's a guy that was doing at a young age, $3-4 million a year in revenue. And it bit him in the ass because, he thought he was invincible, and you realize real quick, he's not. And if you get those things in order, your faith, your relationships, your health journey, your business, and then your finances, I'm telling you, you get those first three things in order, because what happens is it takes discipline. It takes incremental, not monumental. It takes you being super, super, super focused and locked in. And when you do that, it's easy to be focused on your business and your finances. It really is. So does that help, Peter?
Absolutely, sir. And
I
I
got
was
one more
wondering,
question before we wrap up.
sure, go ahead, and then I want to ask the last question.
It's your perspective is extremely interesting. And one question that really strikes me is a question that a lot of people ask, but they're afraid to actually ask it. And it's the question of, people typically say that, is it better to be married? And this is a business question, but it's not quite a business question, it's more holistic.
Yeah.
But in order to be successful as an entrepreneur, as an individual, long term, from your perspective, since you've been married, right? So I'm assuming you know both worlds. Mm-hmm. Is it better to be married and have your large business, and leave your legacy, have that be the bedrock of your legacy? Or can one realistically attain a high level of success being single? What's your personal opinion?
Yeah. So I was on another phone call today with a dear friend of mine who's almost in the same situation as I am. And the way I navigated that conversation was careful, because of where I personally have been. And, when you're doing what I'm doing, and again, I don't, man, if I look like Peter, dude, I'd have any woman in the world. I could go take my pick. I still have a lot of opportunities, a lot. And I'm going to show you something real quick. I have a lot of opportunities. Well, you want to talk about creating an ideal life? Shoot, this is good, bro. This is a bonus. I said, charge you guys for this. Let me find my journal right here. Boom. Look at this. Creating a vision for my ideal life. Look at here. It's got my quote. It's got one of my affirmations. My ideal partner. Boom, 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 boom. I got them all the way down through there, man. And I'm going to tell you what, I've had so many opportunities, but I'm like, nope, she don't like to work. Nope, she doesn't like people. Nope. If she can't be on the stage next to me, it need not apply. And I'm getting to the point now where I've learned over the past 6 months, 7-8 months, I've learned that I don't have time to be in a relationship just because I'm alone, or I just want to be with somebody, physically, or have fun, because that takes away from my opportunity to find the person that I know that God has for me. Does that make sense? And it's, and I've got, dude, she loves Jesus and her family with her whole heart. She loves me. She wants to be by my side as we change the world together. She loves to work out. She's self-aware and seeks out coaching. She is patient and kind. She is quick to own her mistakes and then walk through the forgiveness process. She is fun. We laugh a lot together. She is humble. She doesn't believe her own press clippings. She likes sex a lot. She covers me. We encourage each other, and we are not afraid of what it looks like behind the curtain. Like, those are some things I'm like, this, I know exactly what I'm looking for. Like, I know exactly what I'm looking for. And I won't settle. I just won't settle. And not only that, let me say this to you guys real quick. Let me say this. There's a scripture that says a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. It's in Proverbs 27, I believe, or 24. A man who finds a wife finds a good thing. In the scripture, that in the Hebrew, in the Hebrew portion, the Old Testament is written in Hebrew. So you can have one Hebrew word, and it literally means an entire sentence or a story in our language. We don't have words like that in our language, but that word literally means if somebody is on his path towards God, God causes the path of a female to intersect with his. And this is what I used to say when I was a youth pastor for several years. I used to tell my students this all the time. Don't worry about finding Mr. or Mrs. Right. Worry about becoming Mr. or Mrs. Right. And you work on you, and you become the best version of you. Because I've got somebody that I love dearly, that if I could, and she could be these things for me, and I could be the things for her that she wanted me to be, I'd marry her tomorrow. But I'm not ready for that. And she's not ready for that. And so we made a decision to say, hey, I love you. I care for you. I'm working on me. You're working on you. You're going in your direction, and I'm going in my direction. And one day, maybe you'll get to meet the new me. It's hard. That's hard, man. It's hard. I hope this is helping you guys. Damn, I'm being super transparent with y'all today. Nobody's heard about half of the stuff I've talked to you guys about today.
Thank you, Mr. Ken Joslin.
You're welcome, baby.
So I hope, Craig, you got the answer. Michael, anybody has anything to put there, please, in the chat. And I have a last question for you. If nobody's going to have another question, and we're not going to hold it anymore. But I was just wondering what it takes to become Ken Joslin.
A lot of pain. I would say this, and some of you guys may have heard me say this story. I umpire college baseball, and one of my best moments, I'm with my buddy Jay Pierce. Jay was a former AAA umpire in the big league system, and now he works for MILB, and he is an umpire evaluator for, you don't get to the big leagues unless you go through Jay. So single A, double A, Jay's like one of the main instructors and one of the main evaluators. And we're working a small college game, a D3 game in Atlanta. And about every half of an inning, Jay would come down and he would give me pointers. He would say, listen, when you do your strike, I want you to give me a little 45-degree angle. Instead of pointing right to the up, instead of up the line or the dugout, I want you to be like in between. Hey, your head's moving on this pitch. I need you to get your head locked, and I want you to move your eyes. Watch. I'll never forget. He told me, I want you to watch the ball as it goes in the mitt. I want you to watch that catcher close his mitt. I want you to read the Rawlings logo on the back of that mitt, and then make your call on what the pitch is. Like every half inning, he's giving me his little pointers. At the 5th or 6th inning, Jay comes down and he goes, because in the college baseball, guys, you don't never talk to your partner. Like if it's a 3-hour game, I don't usually talk to my partner for 3 hours. Every now and then, if we've got a play where we've got to eject a coach or eject somebody, or we need help on a play in a 2-man or a 3-man system, then you may talk to your partner, but that's it. And he said, hey, are you okay with me coming down and giving you this information? This is exactly what I told him, guys. I said, Jay, if you told me to spin on my head on home plate during the 7th inning stretch, I would do exactly what you tell me to do, because you've been where I want to go. So what does it take to become Ken? It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of coaching. It takes a lot of refinement. It takes a lot of, I think this was Rick Warren quote as well. You'll walk the level of your purpose that you walk in will be equivalent to the level of pain you can withstand. The level of your purpose that you walk in will be the equivalent to the level of pain that you can withstand, because you're going to walk through some pain. There's some, I had a thing happen today, guys, that I'm like, fuck, man. Like, it's like, this is, a friend, and something went sideways and they did something that didn't have a lot of integrity. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, those things happen. You've got to be like, okay, God, I know what you called me to do. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. In 5-second rule from my buddy, Jeff Finster. If I'm gonna give myself 5 minutes to do a pity for 5 seconds to do a pity party, and then we're moving forward. So I would say that, man, it's every day. It's every single day.
Would you drop, or would you give up everything that you did so far if you can find that ideal life, I will say, in front of you as a turn, and just to give up and start something new that's going to be your ideal?
No, because you wouldn't know what ideal was if you hadn't went through all the shit in the past. You're not going to know what ideal is if you hadn't went through the stuff. How do you have gratitude for something you don't understand what the opposite feels like? Like you have to. So you have to understand, so when you have good days, and the goal is not to get too high, not to get too low, just cruise through life. So I hope that helps you guys.
I appreciate, sir. You help a lot, and I think like a lot of people here, they get the value that they need, and we, we're gonna have a lot of. We are streaming also on YouTube and different other places. So I'm pretty sure a lot of other they found in different ways the value. And what is the most important, we found the value here, and I think like if we can help at least one person in the whole thing, where they did our deeds. And that's the most important part. And I appreciate you, sir, and looking forward to hear more of you tomorrow. And thank you everybody that been today here. And one more time, thank you, Ken, for being here. And
love you guys. Thanks for being on today.
Thank you everybody, and see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock when we're gonna start. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for the patience, and see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna start a new session, day 2. And if you enjoy what you like today, just drop a comment on Facebook, on Instagram, and just tell us who you enjoy, what was the biggest take that you took today, and just let us know so we know how to do better for the next time, and give you the tools or answer to your questions that you ever had, or things that bothers you. Make sure you've been transparent. We are transparent with you, and let's make things happen. Thank you one more time. Have a blessed, amazing rest of the day, and looking forward to see you tomorrow.
Right.
Thank you very much, everybody.